President Biden has unveiled his $2 trillion proposal to tackle rebuilding the nation's infrastructure and combat climate change. The so-called American Jobs Plan puts $600 billion toward repairing roads, bridges, and airports. It'll also boost electric vehicle capacity with 500,000 charging stations. Billions of dollars will go to utilities, including clean drinking water, high-speed internet, and electrical systems, as well as new schools. And to pay for it all, the White House wants to boost the corporate income tax rate from 21% to 28%. They also want to change the tax code for multinational companies. The president rolled out the plan yesterday in Pittsburgh.
It's a once-in-a-generation investment in America, unlike anything we've seen or done since we built the interstate highway system and the space race decades ago. In fact, it's the largest American jobs investment since World War II.
Heather Boushey is a member of President Biden's Council of Economic Advisors. She joins me from Washington. Heather, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
In explaining the size of this proposal, as we heard, President Biden says that this is a once-in-a-generation investment in the country. So why does the White House feel now is the time to go big with an infrastructure deal?
That's a great question. And, this is the moment. Right. The president made clear throughout the campaign and in the first few weeks and months of governing that, our first challenge was to wrap our hands around the pandemic, deal with that emergency in front of us. But it wasn't enough to build back. We had to build back better. And so this proposal that he laid out yesterday is following through on that commitment. We know that the United States has fallen behind in terms of our investments in roads and bridges and broadband and making sure that we have safe drinking water and all the things that we need to do to make sure that our economy and our society are resilient to climate change, along with a whole host of other challenges in front of us. And this package is designed to address it so that our economy will be more resilient and that we can broaden and deepen America's middle class.
Heather, we know that Republicans are opposed to the plan, but it's also facing some criticism within the Democratic caucus, sort of from all sides, from the progressive side, who says that that the plan should be even bigger. And then you have moderates like West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, who have previously suggested that any infrastructure proposal should be as much as $4 trillion. So is the White House ready to sign off on even more money for this bill?
Well, time will tell. This is the first laying out of the plan by the president, his vision and, what he sees that he wants to do. But as he said in the speech yesterday, he wants to hear from people. He wants to know how people from across the aisle want to take these steps forward. But he was very clear on the goals, that this is about ensuring that our economy is competitive, that we're making the investments that we need to make so that our infrastructure, both our physical and our human infrastructure, is strong and we can be competitive, for the decades to come. I think it is interesting that some people think it's not enough. Some people think it's too big. But one thing that is actually clear is there have been a variety of polls that show that people from across the aisle, people who identify as Democrat, Republicans, Independents, folks want us to be investing in our nation's infrastructure. They understand we don't have safe water, when our schools aren't crumbling, when we don't have enough childcare centers, when we aren't making the investments to make sure that we are the leader in the kinds of electric vehicles that are going to be the cars of the future. People understand that these are the kinds of investments that our government needs to make, and so you see that it is popular out there in the country in a bipartisan way.
Well, on the flip side, a group of New York and New Jersey-based Democrats say that they're going to oppose any changes to the tax code without a repeal of that $10,000 cap on state and local tax, or SALT deduction, as it's known. That's a change that occurred under the Trump administration, and it's hurt a lot of residents in the states that overwhelmingly supported then-candidate Biden. Would the White House back a repeal of the SALT deduction cap as part of this bill?
Well, this is just the opening bid. As a part of the package, the president laid out his Made in America tax plan, and that plan is really focused on the corporate side. It's focused on making sure that those corporations that bring in a lot of profits are paying their fair share, that we're rewarding work and not wealth in our country. And, the president also made very clear that he's open to suggestion, that he wants to hear from people, and wants to make sure that this package really fits the bill in terms of being what our economy economy and our society need. So the right tax package is going to encourage strong investments in the United States in building our productive capacity, making us more innovative, again, more productive, increase output, and create good jobs. So those are the values and the goals that the president has outlined, and he's made it clear that he wants to hear from folks.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he said that he was open-minded to any ideas of how to pay for this, as long as it didn't increase taxes on people making less than $400,000 a year.
That is his line, and he is sticking to it, yes.
The infrastructure proposals spending would be spread out over 8 years, but the tax increase would offset spending in 15 years. So how exactly does the math work out, and how do you protect investment from future attempts at changes by a potential Republican president?
Well, you can't hamstring a future. That's what democracy means. So that is one challenge. But let me tell you what really matters about these investments. The investments that we're making in the here and now over the next 8 years are going to grow our economy. They're going to be this down payment on future innovation, on addressing climate change, on addressing key challenges in the care economy. And then the taxes that the president has proposed, the tax increases, those will be put in place, and they'll go on extended, not just 15 years, but far into the future. And so this is the right way to think about infrastructure investment, that you make these investments and then you pay them off over time. It's the way we think about buying homes. It's the way we think about the kinds of big capital expenditures that we need to make, whenever we're making them, be that businesses, households, or governments. So that is a sensible way to think about it. And, I do want to stress it is paid for, and it does put in place a tax system that will be more fair and that will really focus on rewarding the kinds of activities that are going to grow our economy over the long term.
Heather Boushey, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.